Let's go back to our callers right now. We've got Josh in Oregon. You said you wanted to talk about marijuana. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah. Can you hear me, David?
I hear you.
Awesome. Thank you for taking my call. Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
What I'm really concerned about is, I know when Trump was campaigning, he was, the issue about legalized marijuana, medical marijuana was brought up to him, and he said it was basically a states' rights issue. And obviously, the black market thrives when you try to make something illegal like that. The clear example is obviously alcohol being made illegal gave rise to organized crime. But aside from that, one thing I'm really concerned about right now, especially moving into the midterms, is the fact that we've got Jeff Sessions and this administration really pushing back on something that's really popular. I mean, the majority of people want to see marijuana legalized. They think that it should be regulated. And this is just something that can be really damaging for the popularity and for the optics of this administration, if nothing else. It seems like a horrible time to be doing this.
Yeah, it is. It is really tone deaf, isn't it, to what's going on? But what concerns me even more is that there's no constitutional support for what he's doing. We have a 10th Amendment. And everybody understood when we had the 18th Amendment. That's what I've said before. Forget the 420. People who want to have legalized marijuana, they need to start talking about 1018. The 10th Amendment prohibits the federal government from doing this because it said if you don't explicitly have that power remains in the states. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that the federal government or the Attorney General can prohibit marijuana or anything else without specific powers given to it. That's why we had the 18th Amendment, to give them the power. We had everyone at the time realize, and I think it's probably still true, alcohol is our most dangerous, most addictive drug. And everybody said, this is a bad thing. Let's try and experiment. Let's say that we're going to prohibit this and we're going to arrest the people who sell it. They didn't come after the end user back then, but we'll arrest the people who sell it. It was a horrific failure. You had people like Al Capone and other rival gangs shooting each other with machine guns on the streets. It created a massive black market and organized crime to support that. We've now seen that in spades with this now 47-year-old experiment on drug prohibition here in the United States. But now, with the war on drugs that we're under now, under Nixon's war on drugs, we don't have a constitutional amendment that gives them the power. And so they use bluff and bluster and misdirection, and they talk about the Commerce Clause, or they talk about how it began with saying that the Harrison Narcotics Act was there to collect taxes, just like they did with Obamacare. And they have no authority to do any of this. So to one degree, I want to have this fight. But understand that Jeff Sessions, I don't know, Trump has been silent on this. He had said before, and I think Jeff Sessions had made assurances that he wasn't going to do anything to interfere with the 10th Amendment on this particular issue, and then he reversed himself. And we haven't heard anything from President Trump, but we've had other people in the Republican Party questioning the drug bureaucracy representatives that we have in Washington, saying, why do we even have marijuana scheduled as a class 1? I mean, that scheduling was created by the United Nations. This is a great teaching opportunity for people on both the left and the right to show them how the United Nations is dictating things to us, and to show them how the federal government doesn't care anything about the Constitution. So hopefully we'll have that. We've already had conservative congressmen, Republicans, questioning why marijuana is a Schedule 1, that they say that it has no medical use, and yet we've got more than half the states say that it does have a medical use. And we know that it does have a medical use.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you look at how, when it comes to the veterans, I mean, this is something, like you said, that has a great medicinal use to it. This is something that can really help out the veterans. And this is something that's now going to be pushed back upon, apparently, by the Trump administration. And then on top of that, you see the tax revenue that these states, I mean, it just seems like a win-win situation in every way. It's just insane to me that they're doing this.
It is, absolutely. Trump has done many things to help veterans, to free things up in the VA, and yet in many of these states, even states where medical marijuana is legal, people have to be very guarded, because if they say that they're using marijuana for PTSD or for pain treatment or something like that, they can lose their health care through the VA. I mean, it's an insane policy, especially when you look at the fact that they're prescribing opioids, which are highly addictive, highly dangerous, and you could get rid of a lot of the initiation of opioid addiction by allowing these people who are patients to take marijuana, medical marijuana, rather than opioids. I mean, I remember when Chris Christie was running, and he gave us that long story about a friend of his who was a lawyer and how he was very successful, married with a family and so forth, had been at the top of the class, and this guy's life was destroyed because he got prescribed opioids for a back injury that he had. He became addicted to it. It cost him his job, his career, his family, and he eventually committed suicide. And then Chris Christie immediately pivots. So therefore, pot should be outlawed. I mean, this is like saying, hey, look, we had these guys from Saudi Arabia take down these buildings in 9/11, which I don't believe, but now we're going to go attack Iraq. I mean, it's total non sequitur. I don't understand why the American public continues to fall for this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is absolute insanity, most definitely. And then you also see, I mean, it's just at every angle, it's just insane the way that they go after these things. Like you see with Alaska, when it comes to their, people that had their medical marijuana cards, they were saying that they were going to try to take away their guns and stuff. So, I mean,
yes,
it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
That's right. Well, I think, as I said, I hope at one level that we have this fight, because I think it's going to wake a lot of people up, and it might unite people on both the left and the right along the lines of liberty and freedom and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That would be the best possible thing that'll happen. I think it's such a stupid political move that you're going to wind up to try to minimize the political damage that Jeff Sessions would do with this. I think in reality what you're going to see are people in Congress saying we're going to legalize marijuana at the federal level to shut this issue down. And that would be relieving the pain, but not getting rid of the underlying disease, which is prohibition and our disrespect of the Constitution. Thank you, Josh, and we'll be right back with Goat Tree, Chuck, and Sean. Hang on, we'll be right back.